Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. I will warn you, these guys have got no sympathy in them today for many situations that we've seen throughout the football world. Whether it be hoping an underdog wins, red card decisions, Mikel Arteta very upset about Arsenal's schedule. Zero sympathy from any of them.
You're just upset that
we
everybody
are serious
picked
people.
against Middlesbrough.
We are professional people.
Correct.
We don't deal with just fan question marks or whatever it can be. You know,
Follow our
being
brains,
sympathetic,
not
you
our
know,
heart.
towards our team. To Mikel Arteta, we're just crying for the sake of his young player who can't run 3 days after playing another game. No, we don't have sympathy for that.
There you go, as I was telling you. But what they do have time for is your questions, and they're going to answer them now. And Ale, it starts with you. Should Ancelotti opt for the full old trio of Kroos, Casemiro, Modric, KCM, or try out the young blood of Camavinga and Fede with Modric against Chelsea?
I don't think you swim this far and then you decide, hey, I'm going to try something new. Look, you are going to trust those guys because time and time again, they've been able to come through for you. Now, it's going to get to a point in which they're going to struggle with athleticism and people running around them, and that at times has been difficult for Real Madrid. But it's that trio that can control the pace of the game, and it is that trio led by Modric, who I think has been outstanding, that can actually tilt the game in the favor of Real Madrid. If they're able to control the game, then Real Madrid has a much better opportunity to win in the whole thing.
Okay, so going with the vets.
Yep.
Yeah, understandably so.
Sympathy for the vets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Frank, what midfielders should PSG buy to challenge for the Champions League next year?
Well, I've been saying that, you know, for like 10 years since I follow Paris Saint-Germain and Qatar, that they need somebody like Casemiro at the time, Alan at the other time, N'Golo Kante, Anderson maybe, those real midfielders who can defend and work hard for the others. What we call them the carrier, the water carrier, and that's what Paris Saint-Germain needs. Fed up with talent, you need players who are ready to sweat, work hard, and defend hard. That's the kind of player they need in the middle of the park.
I love this next question.
Oh,
Start
here
with
we
you,
go.
Stevie.
Here we go.
Do you remember the worst criticism that was made on you in your
man.
football career?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Do you know what? I only remember one, and it was actually a Scottish reporter who actually I was quite pally with. You know, every time
You
we
were
met.
quite pally.
Big Dougie, his name was Big Dougie Bailey. He was a big centre back. He was like 6'4", big huge guy, nice guy. And after the World Cup in '86, I read an article in one of the Scottish papers from Big Dougie, and it had my most disappointing player of the tournament, right? Who disappointed you most in the Scotland squad?
The whole tournament.
And it was me, right? So, and I didn't go mental. I mean, I wasn't.
You're not bothered.
No, I accept things happen. And so I actually didn't play for Scotland for 18 months after that. Because in the World Cup, I was playing with a hernia and a torn stomach muscle. And so by the time I had got rid of all that, it was 18 months before I played with the national team again. And of course, I went straight up to Big Dougie. I said, Dougie, by the way, number one, I read your article, the most disappointed player, in your opinion, in the Scotland squad. I said, number one, why would anybody do that? Why wouldn't you do, who did you think the best player was in the squad? Why would you go a negative way?
Positivity.
Why would you, why would you do
Mr. Positivo.
that? Why would you write an article saying
The ESPN
who
FC
you thought was the most disappointing, right? And then I followed it with, by the way, I said, Dougie, you are a journalist, right? And he went, yes. I said, well, by the way, did you know that when I was playing the World Cup, I had a hernia and a torn stomach muscle at the same time? And he went, no. I said, well, I think you better check your credentials then, big man. See you later.
Oh.
Off I went.
Oh, look at it.
He's not bothered though, Ale.
No.
He's not bothered about it.
No. I mean, and you are positive in nature.
Yeah, I'd said it with a smile on my face.
Oh.
Big man.
Did you and Dougie ever see one another
Absolutely,
after that?
aye. Yeah.
Did he ever return to call you the most disappointing player of a match or a tournament after that?
No, I didn't play many games after that. You never got the chance.
Ali, what was your worst ever criticism?
Well, I didn't read many things during my career, but this was actually an article that my dad had sent to me and said, hey, they're talking about...
I thought it was your dad who criticised you.
No. Well, maybe. He said, no, look, they made a list of the most underrated players, and you're at top of the list. So I said, all right, well, that's actually compliments coming my way, so I'll go ahead and read it. Why not? In the compliments, he's able to overcome his ungainly running style. And I said, wait a minute. This is...
Actually, I'm surprised they had running in that. I don't remember you running.
Well, I'm just saying.
Ungainly.
Oh man, ungainly running style. But I think the worst experience. Yes, I know. I still feel like I'm moving that way. Yeah. The worst experience I had was actually, I was considered to be towards the end of my career one of the national team coach prefer players, and the media at that time was very critical of the national team coach, and so by definition, anybody who was associated with him as one of his guys was gonna carry a brunt of the criticism. I never really paid attention to this up until we had a open training session to the fans in Venezuela. We're preparing to play against Brazil, World Cup qualifying, and every time I touched the ball, I got booed in Venezuela. Wow. In training. I'm like, wait, they're booing me. And every time I touched it, I was getting booed. And at that point, I thought, this is not the way to prepare to play against Brazil. This is not ideal. So that certainly made an impression, I'll tell you that much.
So you're blaming the coach, you're blaming a hernia. Let's see who Frank's going to blame for the worst criticism that he ever received as a player. Frank?
Well, I played a game 5 days, and it's like almost 20 years ago. I played 5 days before the World Cup in 2002, horrible World Cup for France. And we played against North Korea, and I scored the last goal. We won 3-2 at the last second of the game. And straight after the game, when journalists say, well, this goal is just hiding, it's just like the tree hiding the forest of Frank Leboeuf, saying that it was just hiding the horrendous game that I had, and he was saying that on the first goal I should have marked somebody and I didn't, where it was untrue because it was Patrick Vieira in charge of that player, and the guy kept on criticizing me, saying that I had horrible games, and all example that he gave wasn't me concerned in those matters. So it was like, the hunter ready to kill somebody. And I was listening to that and I say, well, when somebody doesn't like you, he makes sure that he can share it with everybody to make sure that everybody hates you. So it's where, those kind of days you say, well, I shouldn't have listened or watched that game again because it wasn't worth it.
So it was Patrick Vieira's fault.
What? Whose fault?
Well, in that matter, yes, but he covered so many other mistakes that I made, so I don't want to be too harsh on him.
Well, that's a nice way to end it. That's all we've got time for on the latest edition of Extra Time. These guys are a little bit upset having to relive such traumatic times with the worst criticism they've ever received.
I know. Losing a lot of sleep because of it.
Join us tomorrow as we look back on the FA Cup action and find out if it's Chelsea or Middlesbrough we'll be going through.
What?
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and of course, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.